So I'm with Constantin Gurdgiev. I was wondering if you could tell me your thoughts on the bailout, the promissory note deal. Would you have an opinion on it?
Well, of course, I do have an opinion on it. I think the bailout has been handled very poorly in Ireland. From the beginning, starting with the guarantee and even before the guarantee, Irish state has taken a suboptimal path towards it. Idea that we should load the private banks' debt onto the shoulders of the real economy, households, companies, SMEs and the likes, including the exchequer as well, is to me counterproductive to both the market structure, function of the markets, function of the financial markets as well, and for the economy as well. It's unjust, and things which are unjust perpetuated on the scale of the bailout tend to have long-lasting adverse effects on the economy and in society. We are living through them right now. Despite the recovery, for example, we have tremendous number of people who are facing huge uncertainty about ability to preserve their own homes, to keep their own homes, to be able to sustain their mortgages. We have numerous thousands, hundreds of thousands of families who have lost pensions. We have families who have difficulty finding homes. We have both unemployment and underemployment, which is still rampant and very significant. There is all of that ultimately is traceable back to the very same mechanisms in policy making and decision making, which have resulted in the guarantee and in the subsequent bailout of the banks.
So the government saying it's a success is a wrong idea?
In many ways it is a success. In many ways the credit goes to the people of this country and to the economy of this country, which is in some areas extremely robust and extremely productive. But the problem is that that is not something that we could have counted solely as the outcome of the bailout. It's almost as if the economy is recovering despite the bailout, not because of the bailout, in my view.
Okay, and just last question. You said economics is a victim of its own success. Could you briefly explain what you mean by that?
Economics is probably a victim of its own success because economics became fairly popular during the crisis. It is the only discipline which was trying to explain what was going on. Whether it was doing it well or not is a different argument. But then, in a way, because of the success of economics, it reinforces the paradigm that is Irish economics, official Irish economics, economics which are captured by the vested interests, whether they are public sector vested interests or private sector vested interests, is immaterial, whether it is coming from the source of the banks or it's coming from the source of the exchequer, or it's coming from the source of the regulators and anyone else who employs economists in this society. The truth is, most of the economists employed in this economy are employed as marketers, and as a result of it, they really are not in a position and not facing incentives to seek the truth and discover the truth.
How could the average Joe Soap, though, find independence in an economist?
It's very simple, in fact. Fortunately for us, as one of the positive outcomes of the crisis, there is now a diversity of opinions out there. There are both international and domestic economists who are challenging the status quo, who are challenging the consensus, and doing so very robustly. They come from both left, right, center. Ideologically, they are distributed across the board, and that is even better because you can now have this diversity of opinions. So I would suggest that people actually stop tuning into the official media, seek people who actually speak their own mind. It might not be the truth, but it is at least an attempt at discovering the truth. People who are honest, people who are taking the positions which are unpopular, and people who are challenging the consensus. Simply, the biggest lesson of the current crisis and what led into the current crisis is that Cassandras cannot be tolerated as the outcasts. They have to be brought into the society, and they have to be a part of the society's system of warnings, system of alerts, and system of analysis.